Before the Fed makes their decision on interest rate cuts later today, December 10th at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, let's talk about the current positioning of Bitcoin on its chart. And also before Jerome Powell gives his speech at 2:30 Eastern Standard Time today, which will have the bigger market effect. So yesterday was a green day in the cryptocurrency markets if you weren't paying attention. Bitcoin went up to $94.5 thousand or so, and since then has corrected a bit, but a lot of altcoins were up 6 to 10% on average across the board, while Bitcoin was up about 3 to 4% or so. And now where we're currently sitting is we're sitting right on support here on the 21-day exponential moving average. We have broken above it, and now we are trying to attempt to hold it as support. Now, typically, before an event like the Fed announcing their interest rate cut decision, a very known event, that's typically a buy the rumor and then a sell the news event. So there is a very large risk today of us cutting through this support, especially given the fact that 3 out of the past 5 times for Bitcoin, when we've had an interest rate cut decision, Bitcoin has ended lower on the day than where it started. The stock market's even worse. 4 out of the past 5 times the Fed has cut interest rates, the stock market has ended lower that day than where it started. And this is one of the reasons why what Jerome Powell says in his speech is the biggest market impact. Because what all markets are going to be listening for from sweet, sweet, sweet Papa Powell is any inkling or hint that quantitative easing could be starting soon, which would be the Fed adding things to their balance sheet. And on shorter term time frames, we see a similar thing too. This is the 8-hour chart. We broke through these key exponential moving averages, the 55, the 12, and the 21. We're coming back down. We're sitting right on top of them to potentially act as a trampoline zone if we get a little hint of bullishness from Jerome Powell and the Fed. And that would get us close to our targets for this rally here that we've been talking about for, well, since the rally began, at around $96,000 to $98,000. Maybe it would overextend up to 104K, but that would be about it before looking to see some corrective period. But still, I'm looking at like 96, 98K personally, if we can get some good news. So Bitcoin is in a position to do that, but do be aware that we are in a bearish setup here. This pattern here is called a bear flag that tends to break to the bear side. Even if you do have a initial bullish breakout, that tends to be false, and you typically break through this to the downside. And on longer term timeframes, the weekly chart, we are also in a bearish setup. We had a confident break of the 55-week exponential moving average, and typically you fall to the next one. Not always, but typically. We want to see Bitcoin get above these key exponential moving averages on the weekly timeframe to erase that bearishness. And I'll provide an update later today after Jerome Powell's speech to provide a summary.